Twinkle, little star, how I wonder why.
I was encountering a demon that night in human form.
He is eyeing this little girl right here.
Jacksonville 911. Hi, I'm at Walmart. My daughter's been taken.
What do you mean?
Taken by a stranger. I can't find her.
My God, who does this? Who does this?
I met the boogeyman that night.
June 21, 2013, Jacksonville, Florida. A beautiful city right on the water.
Rain Perrywinkle and her 3 young daughters are getting ready to walk to the store. The trip tonight involves a special occasion. One of those little girls, 8-year-old Cherish Perrywinkle, is set to spend the summer with her father across the country in California.
Cherish was scheduled to fly to California the next morning on a 6 a.m. flight. I took Cherish, Destiny, and Nevaeh for a little walk to the store, and I had a $100 bill. I thought maybe if I bought at least one outfit for Cherish to take with her the next day. It was just a little after 6 p.m. It was just starting to sprinkle, and I let my children take their umbrellas, and it was a day like any other.
That evening, it was humid in the air. It was just about to get dark.
So you have Rain Perrywinkle. She's a struggling mother. Finances are not in her favor.
So it's Rain and the 3 girls, including 8-year-old Cherish. Absolutely stunning. Long brown hair, the big bright smile. She's wearing a little orange sundress, super cute.
They go to the Dollar General store to try to buy clothes. It's a very innocent night, Friday night.
And that's where all this began, at Dollar General. I see this old man standing by the front sliding door, and he was staring directly at us. I thought he was staring at me, and that really made me mad.
Brad Calhoun, the cashier that night at the Dollar General, remembers the man well.
He came in, walked around the store. He came up to the front after a few minutes, asked me if we had any adult magazines.
I.e. porn. Anybody that's ever been in Dollar General, Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, sell adult magazines.
There were 2 occasions where I took a little dress up to the cashier, and I wanted to know the price. He was standing right behind me, looking over my shoulder. He was leering at me.
And he notices that she's having trouble buying these clothes.
He came up, asked if she wasn't able to afford them, and then he asked if it would be too far to ask if he could help pay for them.
When it was time to check out, I stood there with my merchandise, and he was looking over my shoulder. I thought he was going to rob me. I said to Cherish, "Cherish, come here. Don't count your money in the store. I think that man's going to rob me when I go outside." So we started to walk, and that's when he yelled out to me, "You look like you have your hands full." And I stopped. I turned around and looked at him, and he said, "I have a couple of little ones," and I squinted at him. And I thought, "How old are you?" And then he says, "If you really want that dress, I'll get it for you." I was quiet, and then he said it again, "If you really want that dress, I'll get it for you." And I looked at Cherish and I said, "Cherish, I think this man is trying to bless us." Then he says, "I have a $150 gift card to Walmart. I'm waiting on my wife." And when he said the word wife, I felt more comfortable. It's less threatening.
$150 gift card may not be much to a lot of people, But to the majority of the people in this world, a $150 gift card is huge.
That man offers to drive Rain and her 3 young daughters to Walmart, saying his wife was on her way with the $150 gift card.
He walked over to his van and sat in it with the door open. And then he yells out, "She's going to meet us there."
Rain did not have her own car, and she was not about to blow $20 on an Uber or a Lyft or a cab. It's not going to happen.
What does she do? She has somebody who says, I will help you out. I have a van. I can take all of you together.
I didn't want to get into that van. There's something about that van. He was getting a little snappy with me. "You don't have to do this if you don't want to." And he sounded aggressive. If he really has that gift card, I'm blowing my chance because maybe he is a good person. Maybe he is a good Samaritan. When he opened that door, it was very dark in there. The middle seat was taken out. He had shutters on the windows to keep the light out. The front passenger seat was laid all the way back like a dentist chair. So we're driving down the street to Walmart. All my children were buckled in their seatbelts. I did not want to lie backwards on that seat. I sat upright, so straight that my back was aching a little bit. And my right hand was gripping that door handle. He starts asking questions about my children's names and how old they are. He was asking me how old I was, and I thought that was kind of weird and for a man to ask a woman her age, but I figured, well, he's just trying to make small talk. And so I told him. He says, "Oh, you look good for 45. So I thought it best then to break the ice and tell him, "When I first saw you, I was scared of you. I thought you were going to rob me." Just wanted him to know that I was alert. But he looked at me and he said, "You're safe."
He sold her the whole bill of goods, and she bought it.
She looked into his eyes, and she made the decision to trust somebody.
It was so eerie how calm he was. When I saw that Walmart sign, I said, "Look, there it is." My hand was clamped tight on that doorknob. We get to the parking lot, and he wanted to sit there for about 15 or 20 minutes maybe. He was stalling for some reason. So finally I said to him, "My children want to get out." So he says to me, "Well, you go in first and meet me in the little girls section." When we're in the store, I started thinking, this is too good to be true. He went off by himself and he was staring at the men's work boots. And he kept walking around with his hands on his hips like he was bored. And I said to him a couple of times, "Are you okay? Don't you want to buy anything?" He says, "Oh, just take your time." Eventually, I noticed that he put an object in my cart. When I first looked at it, I thought it was a hose. I didn't realize it was rope.
Finally, the girls are getting fussy, and they're getting hungry. Of course they're getting hungry. It's now 10:30.
He held up his right hand like a sock puppet, and he yells out, "We're going to McDonald's. What do you want to eat?"
This is a Walmart that has a McDonald's right in the store.
McDonald's is right up front.
Cherish ran over to me. She says, "We're going to McDonald's. What do you want to eat?" And I said, "Cheeseburgers." And then she left. I truly thought God put that old man there to help me, and could not have been farther from the truth.
She goes up to the front. It's now between 10:30 and 11, and Cherish is not there.
What seemed like a dream turned into a nightmare.
I ran over to McDonald's. There was a young male employee standing behind the counter. I said to him, "Have you seen a little girl with dark hair?" And he said, "No." I said, "Call 911, my daughter's been taken." And he just stood there staring at me.
This is every parent's worst nightmare.
But officers are about to make a disturbing discovery about that man. It's late, Friday night, in Jacksonville, Florida. The Walmart on Lem Turner Road is closing. But moments ago, 8-year-old Cherish Perrywinkle has disappeared while shopping with her mother and 2 younger sisters.
You want to talk about a classic example of a parent's worst nightmare? That's what this case is.
Jacksonville 911. Hi, at Walmart. I'm in turn. I think my daughter's been taken.
What do you mean?
Taken by a stranger. I can't find her.
And you say you at the Walmart on Lem Turner?
Yes, I am.
Where did you last see her at?
Walmart. I met him in today at Dollar General. He saw that I was struggling to buy them some clothes. He drove us here to buy us some clothes.
She was last seen with this man?
Yes, he said he was going to McDonald's and he hasn't been there because the store is closed right now.
Is he a white man or a black man?
A white man. He's got white short hair and he's got dark eyebrows.
What color vehicle does he drive?
It's a white van.
All these movies we look at where a child goes missing in a store, the doors close, it's not like that. Why would an old man take a little girl out of the store? Why would he do that? Not to go sightseeing.
There is Rain with a cart full of clothes and shoes she can't afford. 2 little hungry girls crying, and 8-year-old Cherish is gone.
Now, in every kind of case, it's great to have some sort of footage, some sort of evidence putting somebody at a crime scene. And here we had it. And unfortunately, we didn't like what we saw.
When Cherish walked away, a few feet away from me, I knew as long as we're all still in the store, he can't hurt her in the store. I thought there's too many cameras, he can't hurt her in here. I thought cameras were to protect people. They don't stop crime, they record it.
People might be saying, well, how is it possible that a man, a stranger, could just walk out of this Walmart, a public place, with this girl? When you look at that video, it looks like a grandfather with his granddaughter. Nobody would have assumed who this guy really was. He just walks right out with her into his van, and you see the van drive off, and that's it. That's it.
To watch him walk through Walmart and out the doors with Cherish right there skipping next to him is one of the most heart-wrenching and chilling things I've ever watched.
I was asleep at home with my family, and I received a call from the homicide sergeant and was informed that there was a potential child abduction and that an Amber Alert would be put out fairly early, and they would update me when they had more information.
I remember walking back and forth in front of the registers, and I was praying. I had my hands in front of my face, way up high, and I kept saying, "Please, God, bring her home, not in a box, not in a box." I felt as if I was talking to deaf ears, that no one was listening to me, no one cared, no one was taking me seriously.
Responding officers have set up a makeshift office at the front of Walmart and need Rain's help identifying the man last seen with her daughter.
And I remember they had the laptop set up, and there were a few little mug shots on the screen. And immediately, I picked out his face. After that, there was a bigger picture of him. And as soon as I saw that picture, I said, "Is that his driver's license?" The answer was yes. And then a horrible thought went through my mind. I said, is he a sex offender? They said yes. I jumped to my feet. I held my knees, put my head down. I started screaming, she's not coming home. I thought, Cherish is with a very dangerous individual. She's not coming home.
Frantic moments after when Cherish's mother went to that McDonald's inside this Walmart and realized she wasn't there.
Nearly all of Jacksonville was looking for Saturday morning. Cherish's friends were sitting on the steps staring at these balloons asking me, where's Cherish, where's Cherish?
I'm Charlie Wilkie. I did 26 years with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, the last 18 in the K-9 unit.
Charlie Wilkie woke up at 4:15 Saturday morning for work, and within an hour, learned of an Amber Alert for Cherish.
That morning, the Amber Alert was going out. I walked out to my kennel to get my police service dog Gator out of the kennel and put him in my Tahoe and start our day. And listening to the Amber Alert, I realized that's what we were going to be focusing on.
The police drove us home. It was about 6 o'clock the next morning. I felt so empty. I don't even think I could put my feelings into words. I knew she was out there screaming for me. I'm watching the news. They had his picture on the screen right next to Cherish's face, side by side. And as soon as I saw him, I started screaming at the television, "Don't you kill my daughter, you bastard."
Coincidentally, around the same time, there are law enforcement that are working a car crash. They have heard about the Amber Alert. While they're working the accident, lo and behold, they see a van go by and think, whoa, that looks like the Amber Alert van.
Officer Charlie Wilkie is one of the responding officers.
We initiated a traffic stop. I turned my lights on. The other officers turned their lights on. It may be 15 seconds or so. He sped up to like 75, 80, maybe miles an hour. We thought maybe we were going to have a pursuit, but then he quickly slowed down and pulled over to the side, the right-hand side of I-95.
Driver, step out of the vehicle. Face away from us. Keep your hands in the air. Stop. Take 2 steps to the left. Face away from us. Take 2 steps to the left. With your hands in the air, walk backwards to the sound of my voice slowly. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Stop. Take 2 more steps to the left. 170, 10-9. Begin to walk backwards again. Stop. Go down to your right knee. Go down to your left knee.
I'm actually the one that put handcuffs on him on the highway on I-95. I holstered and had him come back to me, put hands on him, and I had him leaning up against me so that I could do a cursory search of his waistline to see if he had any weapons that I may have missed on the visual check. When I did that, I felt his pants, and they were soaking wet. They were so wet that it put water on my hand. So I turned and I said, "You son of a bitch, she's in the water."
And right then, Wilkie knows. Wilkie knows Cherish is in the water.
It's early Saturday morning in Jacksonville, Florida. An Amber Alert has just gone out for 8-year-old Cherish Perrywinkle, who was abducted from Walmart the night before by a man driving a white van. After 7:15 a.m., a frantic 911 call comes into police.
Jacksonville 911 Smile. Hi, we're calling about a suspicious van over here on Rutgers Road, a white van. It was parked behind some bushes, really deep in there. Rutgers and where? Behind Highlands Church. It was a white van. It's not there anymore, but we don't know if he dumped anything because we heard a girl just got abducted from Walmart. Right. So we're not sure if that's the van, but the white van was pushed all the way to the back of the bushes this morning.
And you said it's now gone?
Yes, ma'am.
Some neighbors were good enough to have called in that morning and said they had seen his van in this area. Multiple
Homicide detectives were here, and they were in the process of searching the grounds. And I advised them when I got here that, where's the water? And they said, what are you talking about? I said, well, she's in the water. He's soaking wet. I immediately got my police service dog Gator out. We started a track. The dogs are trained to track ground disturbance, so where you've walked or driven or anything, anywhere that you've disturbed the ground, i.e. ground disturbance, smells different to a dog in less than 10 minutes. Gator found the track, took me to the water, and we located Cherish.
Her body was shoved under a log. He had placed a piece of asphalt or concrete on top of her body to keep her submerged. What we were looking at that point in time, which is an image nobody will ever forget, is her hair floating in the water and the orange sundress that she had been wearing the night before. You could see a portion of that sort of floating. I remember Officer Wilkie turning to me at one point in time and saying, boy, he's really lucky I found him first.
Welcome back. Have a seat. We'll be with you in a little bit. Stand up. What's your name?
Donald Smith.
Donald Smith?
Yes.
All right. This is an investigation of the abduction and murder of a Cherish Perrywinkle, 8-year-old female. I'd like to ask you questions about it. You want to talk to us? Okay. All right. Stand up. Pictures of you and put your back up against the wall.
Take your shoes off, please.
Anything that you can tell us? Mr. Smith, anything you want to say before you go in? It's your last chance.
It was a homicide detective that came to my house.
And as soon as I saw him and I let him in, I knew exactly what he was going to tell me. He said, oh, we found a little body. And I didn't hear anything after that because I started screaming, no.
Just days after his arrest, Donald Smith is recorded speaking to his mother at the jail.
I have moved her out of the building. My wife asked if she ran out. She attached herself to me.
He's being visited by his mother, and he's kind of whispering, so nobody can hear. We can hear.
Yeah, I'm freaking out because it's like, shit, I'm afraid of this girl. I'm panicking. I got my van door, but she just comes right in the van. My mind, it just went. Don't turn back. Don't turn. No escape. No escape. All I know is that I am found. The next thing I know is I'm sitting in the driver's seat of my van. My breathing is ragged. And I'm watching the sun come up. I'm watching the horizon.
Everything he says is a lie. And to add insult to injury, he's caught talking about his case is so big that it's even bigger than Tot Mom Casey Anthony's.
It's way bigger than Anthony. You have kidnapping, you have death, and you have rape. You have a child. That is explosive material to the max. Hey, Anthony didn't have all that. She was missing. This is huge. It is huge.
If nothing happens now, there's going to be another little child on the news with an Amber Alert. Speaking of which, why did it take 6 hours for them to start looking for my daughter? I was being blamed for doing this. I didn't do this.
He should have been behind jailhouse walls that night when Rain takes her 3 daughters shopping for clothes. He should have been behind bars. Why was he out?
Jacksonville 911. Hi, at Walmart. I'm in turn. I think my daughter's been taken.
What do you mean?
Taken by a stranger. I can't find her.
And you say you're at the Walmart on Lim Turner?
Yes, I am.
Where did you last see her at?
Walmart. I met a man today at Dollar General. He saw that I was struggling to buy them some clothes. He drove us here to buy us some clothes. He said his name's Dawn. I hope to God he doesn't kill her, and I hope to God he doesn't rape her. I don't want him to kill her. I don't want to be one of those parents that are going through this.
These are the last known images of 8-year-old Cherish Perrywinkle, the night she was abducted from a Florida Walmart while shopping with her mother, Rain Perrywinkle. For Rain, her worst fears came true. The suspect? 56-year-old Donald Smith, who had just been released from jail 3 weeks earlier.
This guy didn't have 1 strike, 2 strike, he had 10 strikes, and he kept getting in trouble with the law.
His rap sheet is as long as I-75. His rap sheet goes all the way back to the 70s. And if you look at it, there's porn, trying to show porn to children, trying to trick children into his van, exposing himself to children.
September 27, 1992. Is a day Carrie Ann Buck remembers well. She was just 13 years old and headed to a friend's house after church when Donald Smith approached her in a van.
Trolling and using a van, in fact, is his MO. A van without windows.
It was a gray van. The side windows were tinted.
Did he ask you if you wanted a ride?
He did.
What happened after you told him no to the ride?
He demanded that I get in the van. He told me to get the in the van.
When he said this to you, what did you do?
I ran.
With Donald Smith chasing after her in his van, she knew she had to find somewhere to hide.
Behind the school, there was a small playground. There was a big, like a tube slide in the playground. And I got inside. I was holding, pushing out with my hands and my feet inside this. I was scared. I was slipping, and I was so afraid I was gonna fall out and he was gonna find me. He said, I know you're in there, you little bitch, and I'm gonna find you.
But for the grace of God and her ability to conceal herself in that slide on the playground, Carrie Buck would have been Cherish Perrywinkle. He tried to get her into the van.
Smith was sentenced to 15 years in prison, but served just 5 after filing an appeal, and was back on the streets, racking up even more charges, ranging from attempted purchase of cocaine to lewd and lascivious behavior. But in 2009, something far more serious. Calling a 9-year-old girl posing as a state employee.
I've heard things before, but this one is really classic trademark Donald Smith. What a strategy this was.
What did he say to her, Miss Thornton, on the phone at 9 years old?
He asked her if she wore a bra and if she had pubic hair.
Christina, is that what he said on the phone?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I was at my grandma's and I was just playing and me and my cousins and we know the phone rings. He wanted to talk to me and tell me he wanted to talk to me in private in another place.
He contacted her grandmother and told her that she needed to meet with him at McDonald's to pick her up, to take her to be checked.
He said he worked for CF and Family and Children. He asked me if I wore a bra and I said no, but I do got some.
What did you think about that question? You think it was weird or?
Weird. They asked me if I had hair on my private and I said no.
Were you afraid of this man at that point?
Yes, sir.
Facing over 20 years in prison, once again, Smith gets off easy, serving just 2 years in the county jail, thanks to a plea deal.
It's not fair. He should have been locked up. Now it's happened to somebody else's child.
He did 2 years. 2 years on that. That's not even a slap on the wrist. He only had time to unpack his suitcase in his jail cell before it's time for him to get out. It's been one offense after the next with him for decades. Yet he was out again, trolling the Dollar General.
I was working, and my wife had called me. Said, Ronnie, something's terrible has happened. I said, what do you mean? She says, the Donald Smith guy that's supposed to be in jail over Christina is out, but he has killed a little girl. We was never notified that he was even out. We only knew about it when we seen it on TV.
Step. Don't fall.
He's released from jail for targeting a young girl. And what does he do 3 weeks later? He targets another young girl.
With a rap sheet spanning decades, multiple cases over 40 years, Donald Smith got off easy time and time again, seeing charges drop, reduced sentences, plea deals, and credit for time served as he awaited his court dates.
This was an example of how the system failed.
They should have an ankle bracelet. They should have a tattoo on their forehead.
Donald Smith had a criminal history that was riddled with red flags that were missed, and this is a case in which multiple facets of the criminal justice system failed.
He never should have been let out.
He should never be able to get back out. Never.
This guy has a prior record from the 70s. How did he get through the system? If you can't trust the system to work, who can you trust? I mean, there's people out there that know the system is broke, and they use it.
It hurts me to think if the system had done its job, he would have been behind bars. Donald Smith would have been behind bars the night that Cherish Perrywinkle was looking for vacation outfits and sandals. That's where he should have been. But no, he was out stalking and hunting, searching for his next victim, and he found it.
I'm always thinking about that night. Every day I think about that night, and it never leaves my mind.
It's like a bad dream. It's like a nightmare that I cannot wake up from. Everyone has bad dreams, but the dreams I have,
Just in case you feel sorry for Donald Smith, let me address some secretly recorded jailhouse tapes. In them, you hear Donald Smith looking at a group of girls, very young girls, who happen to be at the jailhouse visiting someone.
These are young girls, you hear me? They're young. But man, when you look at this girl's ass, you're like,
he's looking at them, he says to the effect, "Wow, I'd like to run into her at Walmart." This guy is sick.
Years later, he still viewed that 8-year-old girl as a sexual object.
I can't go to prison. I can't go to prison. I can't go to my charges. Stab me to death. You gotta break me.
Cherish didn't want to be raped and murdered either.
He is aware of how sex offenders are treated in general population, and he was terrified that he might be placed in general population and receive what would be the prison justice that might be carried out upon him.
Donald Smith is afraid he will be raped and murdered behind bars. That's what he just did to an 8-year-old little girl in a sundress.
Kill me and raised it on death row. Just give me a shot. I'll just go to sleep.
He wanted to go to death row. There, he has his own cell and he is in fact in isolation.
Don't put him in a cell, sentence him to death, and juice him to death. Give him a little taste of what he deserves. And maybe we won't have this problem.
I don't want prison.
If this isn't a death penalty case, what would be? What would be?
Nearly 5 years after the murder of Cherish Perrywinkle, Donald Smith finally went to trial.
State of Florida versus Donald James Smith.
He did enjoy himself in that courtroom. He was reliving that moment over and over. He liked it. He's not remorseful at all.
This court finds that death is the only appropriate penalty for the defendant, given the highly egregious nature of this crime. Donald Smith, you have not only forfeited your right to live among us, but under the laws of the state of Florida, you have forfeited your right to life at all.
He may leave Florida State Prison in a box and never be executed, but he is there and protected from general population in a regular Florida prison.
Having dealt with this case from the very beginning and stood over Cherish as she was lying there in that creek, those are images that will never leave me.
This is going to be with me forever, absolutely forever. Even after Donald Smith's put to death, it's still going to be there. That'll be a great day, but it'll still be there.
I don't know why it takes the murder of an innocent child to put somebody like Donald Smith behind bars for good. I don't know why.
There's not really any justice as long as he's alive. Some people will say, Rain, you need to forgive him. Hell no. I want him dead.